All right, we're good to go. Today we're going to be talking about organizational growth. Hello, YouTube. Hello, LinkedIn. We're live on both those platforms. If you're somebody who is interested in organizational growth, understanding why your organization might be stagnating, understanding why your organization might be declining, or why did it grow, or why have companies that you've seen grow, why do they grow? In this episode of Talking Business with Kobi Simmat on our podcast and also live on LinkedIn and YouTube, I'm going to be talking about some of the barriers to organizational growth. I have got some notes here that I'm going to follow because we've got some kind of detailed content that we're going to go through. I don't usually have notes. I kind of talk from the top of my head, but in terms of preparing for today, we thought it was quite relevant to actually have some very specific examples to talk about and some notes. I have got a dashboard here. So if you are watching live on LinkedIn, hey, Christine on LinkedIn. Good to see you guys jumping on LinkedIn. So anyone watching on LinkedIn, either live or later on, if you catch the recording, please let me know. Say hi in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. If you are watching live on YouTube, let me know where in the world that you're watching from. And also, we leave the recording of this particular video. We leave it on our YouTube channel. If you want to search YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, you want to find us on YouTube, it's Best Practice TV. Lots of great stuff happening over there, and you can, and that's a great place because you can take those videos and share them with people. You can copy that YouTube link and email it to people, or message it to people so they can watch it too. So that's how we're kind of using the technology to help you guys. Okay, in this episode, I'm talking about organizational growth and some of the barriers to organizational growth, and we're going to get into that. I've been running this organization, or the main organization that I run, for 17 years. We've spun off a number of other companies. Right now, I own 4 companies that are all going really well. And then our family office has got a number of other companies as well that are going quite well. And we obviously provide advisory services to over 1,000 clients or 1,000 companies, helping them make more money, helping them grow, helping them be better places to work for all their teams, helping them to be better places to buy from. So if you want your organization to have a better buying experience for your customers, you can consume some of our content, or if you want your organization to be more profitable or worth more. So if it's a small organization or a private organization, you want that organization to be a better investment, like your private share price, we can help with that. It's really interesting statistic that I crossed this week with the Small Business Administration in the US. Do a lot of analysis around small to medium enterprise. It's really interesting. Only 1 in 250 companies, so the odds are stacked against you if you're running a small or medium-sized enterprise. Only 1 in 250 make it to $10 million turnover, $10 million revenue in your respective currencies. But if you peg it against, say, US dollar or Australian dollar, or it'd be different with UK pounds because the numbers are different, but that $10 million revenue mark. So if you're somebody running a business or you're in a business, it's kind of 1 in 250 that get to that number. So we thought it'd be really timely to talk about some of the barriers to growth and some of the things that you can start to look at to address. And there's really 3 key areas I'm going to talk about in this video. And the first area is in this space of leadership and management maturity. We talked last week about if you looked around the managers in the organization or the people that your peers in the organization, are they enjoying what they're doing? Are they good at what they're doing? And if you had your time again, would you rehire them? And I guess that starts to look at, like, does the team fit and work well together? And I think it's important for you to look at the team, the management team, and the decision-making team, the autonomous team that are driving the organization. Are they working like a high-performance football team, whether it's soccer or football, male or female or netball team? Are they working well like a high-performance team of athletes towards a common goal, or is there friction and hostility between them? And internal competition. Because if you've got friction and hostility and internal competition, you're never going to grow and scale the organization. So you've got to get onto that. I spend more than 70% of my week constantly working on leadership development, professional development, and culture with my team members. So leadership, the ability of staff and the management team to grow, and the ability of leaders to grow people. Because a growing organization is a group of people. Right? So in the context of what we're talking about, organization is a group of people, and it's the ability of the leaders to grow people. not the people grow themselves. And I think, I've even seen it this morning in a meeting this morning, people can kind of go week to week. And I've just come out of a meeting with a dozen people. People can go week to week and kind of not really consciously manage their own week-to-week professional development. It's easy to go week to week. Like, I can't believe how quickly Wednesdays are coming around at the moment for our regular Wednesday live stream. We're here every week, this time every week on a Wednesday, if you want to look out for those live streams. I can't believe how quickly they're coming around right now. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And so if I'm not disciplined and saying, right, today I'm going to sit down and do it. I'm going to read for half an hour. I'm going to read for 2 hours. I missed a couple of days, had a big event, trade show on the weekend, and I missed my professional development on the weekend. I usually get up early on the weekends and do a bit of reading to catch up on the week. I missed that. And so tomorrow I've got some clear time in my diary. It's a Thursday tomorrow. I'm going to be doing some time to catch up on some of that reading. You've got to consciously focus on your own professional development. And then as you become a leader, one of your jobs as a leader and as a manager and as you mature is to be growing people. You've got to look at the individual people that report to you or you work with or you lead and inspire. Okay, what am I doing? How am I watering and fertilizing each of those amazing people to help them grow? Because that is how an organization grows. Now, the kicker, if you own a small or medium-sized enterprise, or if you're part of that growing journey, or you're trying to contribute to helping the organization to grow, one of the levers, one of the valuation metrics when you're valuing a company, you've heard about, small businesses or medium-sized businesses selling their company or being bought out by somebody, or a big corporate business. One of the metrics that gets measured is management maturity, the level of management maturity, the level of management autonomy, the ability of that group of managers to achieve the business plan and the goals that have been set in the business plan. Because what people are buying is future profit. So when someone comes in and looks at a small or medium or large business to buy it, they're looking at, okay, how can I guarantee future profit? Either from a going concern or from some other element that I'll add to it. And so leadership and mature management and the ability of managers to grow people becomes a huge barrier for growth. And mostly it's because we're constantly reacting and we're not proactively planning and managing our weeks and proactively planning and managing professional development of the individual people in the group. And their professional development needs to be specifically targeted at the problems and challenges that the company has to solve that are the blockages to the goals in the business plan. You with me? Like, I'm covering a lot. I know it's all a bit crazy, but if you think about that, you say, okay, well, how are we developing our leaders? How are we developing our managers? How are we developing our people? And that is the number one thing. And if you can answer those questions and set a plan and stick to the plan, then you're going to achieve some great outcomes. Now, we don't have a complicated plan here at Best Practice. It's really quite simple. In thinking about the next 12 weeks, what does success look like? That's our goal. In thinking about the next 12 weeks, what could go wrong? In thinking about the last 12 weeks, what went wrong? What do we need to learn to stop making the same mistakes we made in the last 12 weeks? What do we need to learn to be able to handle the things that might come up? And what do we need to learn to make us more efficiently and effectively achieve our goal? It's really that simple. And we do reading every week. And we talk about it in our team meetings. We do a learning section where people talk about what they've been reading as a way to problem solve. And that's how, as a team, we figure out and deal with the challenges that come up. Okay, number 2, scalable infrastructure. I've noticed in my time in business that some things come up time and time again. Maybe the word that you hear in the office when someone's frustrated is, this always happens. Well, if this always happens, that's a good thing, because when something always happens, whether it's something you want to always happen or something you don't want to always happen, you can come up with a decision-making framework and a system and process to follow when that situation arises. Either the situation you make it arise, like a lead comes in, how do we manage that? How do we turn that into a sale? How do we give the product or service to the customer? How do we collect the money? Or an incident happens. This comes up. This is how we manage it. This is how we stop people getting hurt. This is how we deal with that. So having scalable infrastructure, and that is systemizing the business, systems and processes to follow, but also infrastructure. So, can the factory make widgets? What's the capacity? Can the people do tasks? What's their capacity? If you're in a coffee shop, that's really, really busy and you're ordering a cappuccino and there's 10 people in the line, you might have someone frothing the milk, someone grinding the coffee beans, someone pulling the shots, and someone pouring the cups. And when I go to the airport, when I'm traveling for business, just inside the airport terminal that's near my house, I go down the escalator to the coffee shop straight ahead. There's usually a really long queue. Well, pre-COVID, there was a really long queue. They would have 6 people on the coffee machine, 2 people pulling shots, 2 people frothing milk, 2 people pouring the coffees and serving them. And so that's about capacity. So your scalable infrastructure. But that coffee shop couldn't sell anymore because they had one location, one coffee machine, and their queue of people. But they could say, hey, you know what? We're going to scale this. We're going to pick up this model and this whole thing. We're going to go and have another venue in another airport. And that's how they start scaling their business. So you really got to think about how do you scale your business, but more importantly, and this is why tech companies, we're hearing about tech companies being worth so much money and making so much money, is they just copy paste the file. That maybe it's an instance of software and for them, it's really small overheads to actually add more users. That's scalable. So the more that you can pull down your cost of serving the customer, that shows that you've got a scalable business. But if you've only got one cup or one vehicle or one site or one person, that's not scalable. So you want to start thinking about how you multiply the business and start getting an economy of scale. So think about what some of your physical and organizational complexities are, and are there any constraints? How do we open our capacity? How do we have something that's got infinite capacity that doesn't cost a lot to maintain? One rocket to the moon, that's not scalable. But can we send a rocket every week to the moon or to Mars or whatever Elon Musk is planning to do? That's scalable. Okay, and the final one is market and marketing and a marketing engine. Something I've been reading a really interesting book. I can't remember the author right now. We'll pop it in the comments, but I'm reading a book that we will talk about is $100 million offers and the importance of how do we actually get the business to grow. It's much easier to grow a business and scale a business when you've got a tailwind. So when there is a huge amount of demand, it's really hard to run a business when there's a headwind. So think about the term I want you to take away from this presentation, whether it's in your career or whether it's with the business that you're owning and running, is think about headwind, tailwind. It's important to be positioning the business, and you use marketing to do this, positioning the business into a place where there's a tailwind, where there's demand. And if you can have a number of things, the first thing you want is a marketplace that's got pain, something that they need to achieve and they're desperate to achieve that. They have liquidity. They've got money to spend. They can spend that money, and it's growing marketplace. So it's got to be a growing marketplace. Now, if you've got those 3 things and your product or service is ready to go, you just need a grand slam offer. And so the book I'm reading is this $100 million offers, grand slam offers. I'll get someone to post a link to that in the comments. I'm not ready to kind of recommend it to everybody yet because I haven't finished reading. I'm not sure if it's a book we're going to recommend as part of what we do here at Best Practice. But with your marketing machine and your marketing engine, don't be an order taker. And I see too many small and medium-sized enterprises that are just order takers. They're just waiting for the next opportunity to come towards them instead of actually thinking about, here's the question for your marketing. Who exactly is your product or service for? Who exactly? Who is the best person? Who is the best organization, the best customer? Who exactly is your product or service that your organization provides? And you might have a number of products or services, but start with one to keep it simple so that you can practice with one in one niche. Who exactly is your organization's product or service for, and where do they hang out? And if they all hang out in one place, they're easy to target. That's marketing. Marketing is about targeting those people. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's who knows you. So for example, if you're a small to medium-sized business owner who really wants to grow your organization, I can help with that. And you are who I'm targeting. I can help you double the revenue in your organization really easily by talking to you about marketing strategy, getting really tight on the customers and really tight on how we target those customers and where they're hanging out, and making sure that they know you. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's who knows you. And they know that you really easily, and it's a no-brainer, can solve the problem that they've got, the challenge that they've got. Now, if there's no demand, and if it's a declining industry, you're going to find it really hard to actually grow your organization. And it's going to be like looking for customers is like looking for a needle in a haystack. You can't target them. You can't advertise towards them. You can't market towards them. There's, of course, all the important things of building a reputation and building a brand. Let me give you an example. If you had a hot dog trailer or a hot dog stand, you made hot dogs or you made burgers, the very best place to put your little business is on the corner opposite the exit doors to a big sporting event when everybody comes out and they've had lots of alcohol to drink and there's a hungry crowd and they are piling out of the stadium at the end of the football or soccer match, and your hot dog stand or your burger trolley is straight across the road on the opposite corner. You're going to sell out. That's a hungry crowd. And business success, one of the biggest barriers to growth, if your organization hasn't been growing, even during the pandemic, we heard about lots of companies growing in the pandemic. If your organization hasn't been growing in the pandemic and you felt that it's been a headwind, it's because you're not using your marketing activities to position your product or service in front of a hungry crowd. You also might be in a declining market. And so your marketing engine, the function that you've got, has to have the ability to find all of your market. And then here comes some terminology. I want you to think about what's the total addressable market of exactly the customer that your product or service is for. And so we may need, and marketing is all about doing market research and saying, hey, we've kind of identified a customer. Let's do some research. Have they got the ability, to make the decision to buy? Like, yes, no worries. This is a no-brainer. Let's do the deal right now. Or do they need to go talk to somebody else? If they need to go talk to somebody else, or if there's other people involved, you're going to find it challenging. B2B, business to business, is a challenge because often you're not dealing with one person. You're dealing with a number of people. And we've found that. And that's why I'm giving you this advice to say, okay, well, maybe if it's a challenge, maybe we're not positioning our business properly. There are some key markets which are worth talking about that will always be there. Anything to do with relationships, there's always going to be a market for that because humans are growing. We're all growing older. We start relationships, we end relationships. So lawyers in family court, there's always going to be a market for it. Health, there's always going to be a market for health. Anything to do with healthcare services and health, improving health, managing health, fixing health, hospitals, doctors, dentists, physios, masseuses, anybody, different physicians, barbers, getting a haircut, nail salon, hairdressers, anything to do with that health and health management in people, and maybe the premises is around health management, gyms, that's always going to be there. So think about those things, think about those products and services or your ancillary product or service. If you're ancillary to those industries, they're always going to be there. Is it a growing market? Yes. Well, of course it is, particularly if you're at the older end of a sector. Because more people last year in 2020 turned 65 than turned 20. Did you know that? Interesting statistic. So have a think about, is my market aging? Is my market declining? Is my market stable? And then you can think about how you can pivot. But I don't want you to move away from that. Obviously, I'm very passionate about marketing, but I want you to think about that. Don't pivot away from something until you've finished giving it a red hot go. So make 100 different offers to that customer that your product or service is exactly for, and you will figure it out. But you've got to look at, what are they buying? What are they spending money on? What are they trying to solve? What's their goal? And what's the no-brainer offer that you can make to those people? So that is one of the biggest barriers to organizational growth. In fact, I think it's probably the biggest barrier to organizational growth, is because lots of people choose to have a product or service that is not necessarily for anybody. They don't need it. They were solving. I've seen lots of entrepreneurs come to me for advice, but they've come up with a product or service because they solved the problem for themselves. And they're like, right, now I'm going to sell this thing. I'm like, who to? You're the only person with the problem, and you disproportionately like your idea and thought it was a great idea instead of actually testing the market. How are we going for time? Okay, who we got online? We've got a bunch of people online. Good to see everybody. Thank you, Christine, for the kind words. I appreciate that. Hello from Thailand. Yes, the Australian. There we go. Cameron's. Thank you, Christine, for the yes. The Australian sense of humour is entertaining, isn't it? And so is our accent. And Cameron has posted a link to $100 million offers in the comments on LinkedIn. If you're watching on LinkedIn, and also if you're watching on YouTube, there is on YouTube there's also the link to the $100 million offers book. I'm not ready to kind of do a book review on that for you guys just yet. I will do it in the next couple of weeks. Haven't finished it and fully absorbed how I'm going to position it for you. But look, if you're somebody who's responsible for trying to grow an organization and really you want to get past that $10 million revenue mark, and that doesn't include if you're buying, building materials to sell to a customer. Building companies a little bit different. I know lots of building companies watch us here on our channel. But in terms of the value add that you do, the margin you put on top, then if you really want to get through that, then that's excellent. Good to have you on board this morning, Stan Wall. We must catch up. Probably not before Christmas, but it'll be good to catch up and say hi. And congratulations on sorting out that swimming pool that had those issues over the weekend. So, okay. So thank you very much. I appreciate that round of applause. Okay, I did see that go past. Obviously, repetition is really important. And some of you know that I've done some surf ski paddling and kayak paddling and canoe racing over the years. And my coach said to me once, he said, perfect practice makes perfect. And I think the biggest mistake I've made myself and a number of entrepreneurs and business leaders make is not letting processes embed themselves and the company and the team and the organization digest what you're doing. So repetition is really important. So when we go back to leadership, we want to keep practicing. We want to have our goal in mind about how to be better leaders, how to get management maturity and have a team of leaders and managers who can continue to grow and improve, and let people practice. And if you only fail if you stop. So if you say something didn't work, it's because you gave up. It's about, okay, well, was it a way you were trying to achieve a goal, or the goal's not achievable? All goals are achievable. It just comes down to putting enough time and energy and effort into finding a simple, succinct, and smart way to achieve that goal. But everything's achievable. And for most goals that people set themselves, they've been set by somebody else and achieved by somebody else. And literally all you need to do is replicate their journey and you'll achieve the goal, because they've paved the way for you. In fact, probably more efficiently than them, because they were figuring it out from the beginning. There's not many new things that have been created by humanity right now. There's a few advancements, but not many super new things. Like even the metaverse. We've been watching animated films for a very long time. All we're talking about with the metaverse recently is the fact that people can actually have a live interaction. But we have seen animation and those kinds of things. We've been living in those virtual reality worlds for a little while. So it's not a significant step forward. It's not something that is absolutely brand new. Okay, if you have just come on, let me know where you are watching from around the world. It's great to have our global audience. We've got some people in the US today. We've got people in Thailand. We've got people in Australia. And excellent to have everybody on. This streaming is happening right now on YouTube and obviously on LinkedIn. For those people, we've got a good audience there on LinkedIn today. Thank you very much for the attention. So if something that I've spoken about in this video has resonated, the recording for this video gets left on our YouTube channel. Luke and Cam are here in the studio helping me this morning. The audio also goes out on our podcast. So on your favorite podcast platform, if you want to search Talking Business with Kobi Simmat, search my name, Kobi, on Spotify, for example, or your favorite podcast platform, you'll find the audio for this. Give us a couple of hours to get it posted, but we will have that posted pretty quickly today. Okay, that's really it for me in terms of what I wanted to talk about with you guys this morning in terms of barriers to growth. If you do want some assistance or you want to talk to myself or the team, we've got Next Practice, our business coaching team. And if you're an organization that really wants to hit your growth goals and do that efficiently and take advantage of our experience, then you can reach out to us. We have a really great coaching program where we go into a monthly review program. We come in, we spend time with you monthly running workshops and training, and we increase your level of management maturity. And we work on your barriers to growth, and we work on systemization and working out processes and procedures. And then we can also help with your marketing machine so that we can start to do that. We'll do some strategic planning. will get really tight on working out exactly who your product or service is for and where they are hanging out. I'm very good at that. It's something that is my strength to do, and I can help you with that if you want to run one of those workshops. So we have a team next practice. It's hosted by Nick Fagan. We're going to have him on as a guest in the next couple of weeks. We're just waiting for some borders to open and hopefully some opportunity to get back and get a few guests here in our studio. I'm looking forward to doing that. So if you want to explore that a little bit further, you want to reach out. There is one book that I do recommend. You can get it online for $30. We don't get anything out of this, but we think it's a great book, and that is Scaling Up by Vern Harnish, and something that I consider that you implement and follow. If you implement and follow this with your team, I guarantee success. I personally guarantee success. And in fact, any money you pay me, I'll give back to you. If you use this, absolutely, you can do nothing but grow your organization. So you probably just figure if you haven't grown yet as much as you'd like to, you just haven't figured out how to do it yet. So if you want to accelerate that, we've got some secrets that we can share with you. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us here today on, and Cam has dropped the link to Next Practice, which is our coaching team. He's dropped a link there. So if you want to reach out to them. So if you've got goals for your organization for 2021 and 2022, particularly 2022, because that's just around the corner. If you have got goals for 2022 for your organization and you want some support to accelerate those goals and guarantee that you can achieve them and have systems and processes that you can see the pathway to achieving those goals, then it is our team that you can reach out to. And I look forward. We do it all remotely. We can do a lot remotely over Zoom or Google Meet in those meetings globally in any time zone, which is really exciting. So if you are somebody who wants to help your organization achieve its goals in 2022, then reach out to us. Okay, that's it. Same time, same place next week, 30 minutes ago. So in 23 hours and 30 minutes and 6 days, 23 hours and 30 minutes, I'll be right back here in front of the camera, right back here in front of the microphone. And if you don't see me on LinkedIn, and I'd encourage you to jump on LinkedIn right now, if you're on YouTube or watching anywhere else, follow me on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn and you're not following me on Instagram, you are missing out. So there's lots of great stuff happening on Instagram. So jump across on Instagram, search Kobi Simmat. You'll find my page. We've got lots of great stuff. The team are helping me do that. So if you don't see me on YouTube, if you don't see me on LinkedIn, if you don't see me on Instagram, you'll definitely see me right here next week in 6 days, 23 hours and 30 minutes on Best Practice TV. Thanks for joining us this week. If you've got any questions, please reach out. Nick Fagan's just commented on LinkedIn, so connect with Nick Fagan. If you're not following Nick Fagan on LinkedIn, that's a mouthful. Hit follow, connect with him. He's doing some great stuff with Next Practice. He's my business partner in that team, and we're doing some really great stuff, helping organizations make more money, be a great place to work, and a great customer experience. Okay, that's it, boys. Thank you to Luke. Thank you to Cam. Thank you to the team at Best Practice. Couple more of these live streams to round out 2021. I'm excited. So we've got a couple more weeks. Then we're going to take a couple of weeks off. So we'll be off for 3 weeks through January, not producing any content live, and we'll be fresh back into it. But we've got a couple of weeks to go. So I will see you in 6 days, 23 hours and 30 minutes right here on Best Practice TV. Bye for now.